Well, it is concerning. John Podesta, who was chief of staff to Bill Clinton when George W. Bush was coming into office, was the person that I had to work with. He was the chief of staff. I was the incoming chief of staff, George W. Bush. And we had a similar situation. Tight election, 2000, 537 votes George Bush won by when the Supreme Court said you're the winner, which meant we didn't get to start our transition until after the Supreme Court made its decision. So we had very few days. That was found by the 9/11 Commission. And remember, the attacks on 9/11 happened September of 2011, September 11th, 2001. And George W. Bush took office in January of that year. And the 9/11 Commission said, if there had been a longer transition and there had been cooperation, there might have been a better response or maybe even not even any attack. So this is very serious. And we're calling on for the president to open up the transition office, give the money out, let people start transitioning and get ready to take the baton on January 20th at noontime. Even if we don't know the full results, and I'm confident that President-elect Biden will be the one to take the oath of office, but I'm willing to say, let's get all the votes counted, let's get all the legal issues resolved, but also let's make sure that both individuals, Joe Biden and Donald J. Trump, are ready to be the president at noontime on January 20th and not create a problem where they haven't paid attention to what's happening around the world. We got a lot of enemies that would love to attack us during this time of uncertainty. Then we have the pandemic, and everybody knows we should be working in the pandemic. So we're saying, get the transition going. We want our president to be prepared to make the tough decisions with good knowledge on January 20th at noontime. I think it's going to be Joe Biden. If it's not, it'll be Donald Trump. That's still a transition from a first term to a second term. And he's already got disruption going on in his cabinet. So we look very vulnerable to the world.
I think it's okay, Andy, to say the quiet thing out loud. I did that during your administration, especially when it's 100% the truth. And the truth is there are no legal issues. And everybody who is paying attention and knows anything knows that. Some of them are lying about it, but everyone knows it. Legal issues begin with evidence, and then they're investigated. We don't have any evidence, so we don't have any real legal issues. Karl Rove said so in the Wall Street Journal just a short time ago. He said, this is over. Even if there's a little something wrong, it's not enough to... What is going on here? And where's Rob Portman? Where are responsible Republicans to come up and say, enough already?
Well, President George W. Bush did the right thing in calling Joe Biden and saying congratulations. I do think that we have to let the votes be counted. Yes, we're going through a recount in Georgia. We have to let it happen. Let's let the votes be counted. I think it's hyperbole beyond expectation or credibility to say that somebody stole the election. They did. A record number of people voted. Actually, everybody should be celebrating that. That's a sign of a great democracy. Joe Biden got more votes than anybody's ever gotten in the United States. And guess what? Donald Trump got the second most votes of anybody ever running for president. That is a fabulous thing to celebrate. Donald Trump can celebrate that, even though he may not be able to take the oath of office for a second term. And that's okay because we're a democracy. The world is watching it. Let's make sure that we polish our democracy rather than tarnish it, because if we're not shining, other places that are striving to have democracy won't get it in time.
Andy, you know what? This sounds like both you and Karl Rove and a number of others are coming to microphones and going to the computer to speak to an audience of one. You're speaking to the president tonight, aren't you?
I'm speaking to the president, but I'm also looking to give the Republicans who know this but are afraid to say it.
Who needs to step up, Andy? Who can come forward and make a real difference? We know Lindsey Graham won't. That's clear. Who might?
Well, you mentioned Rob Portman. I happen to have great respect for Rob Portman. He is someone who served in the executive branch, the legislative branch. He is a responsible, understanding person.
Man of great honor.
But it's really important for people who are really close to Donald J. Trump, Ivanka, Jared. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth. Help us polish our democracy and polish his legacy. I think Mitch McConnell could do more to encourage the president to recognize reality. But look, Mitch McConnell is focusing on winning Georgia. 2 Senate He's in Georgia, and that's appropriate. I'm focusing on that too. And I wish the president would allow everyone to focus on that rather than have this distraction of think that somebody stole an election when they didn't steal it.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.